Everyone, how are you? It's Kelly Lupsha with the Lupshas, and thanks for being with me on the podcast, Becoming the CEO of Your Own Health. Awesome, right? Well, I always feel every time I come on that it's honestly an absolute pleasure and a privilege that you've joined me and that I can provide value to you. So today in this episode, we are going to be talking about the quest for true belonging. I recently listened to an interview with Brene Brown, and I absolutely love her first and foremost. I followed her. If you guys are not familiar with her, she is like the researcher on shame and belonging. It's kind of hard stuff, topics that maybe a lot of people don't like to talk about because you got to dig deep a little bit. It's easy to just, let's go along with life. Life is life. And whatever kind of rolls its course, let's play it out. She says a few profound things that got me thinking. And then I said, oh my gosh, that reminds me of me when she was talking about her. And there was also an interview with Lewis Howes, and he was saying like, that was him. And I thought, well, then how many of us are out there feeling like it's us? So maybe you're listening with me today thinking, that's me. So we're going to talk about really having the courage to stand alone. And how do you really belong to you? Because you are the most important thing. Honestly, in the whole field or understanding, I guess, of quote, belonging, I don't think anyone has it really figured out. If they did, we would all be on this path of greatness and accomplishments, and we would just follow the people before us, right? That's what we do. And we watch successful people and we emulate and do what they've done. But to find somebody that has your truth, your values, your passion, and to follow that roadmap of them, really, really difficult. And it's probably impossible. So when we're talking about belonging, let me ask you, what do you think belonging means? Ponder that. Is it, I've got my crew. I got a big posse. I have a lot of friends. I'm in part of groups and community. Like, what does belonging mean to you? Because I don't really think it means any of that. And if you've learned or studied any of Brene's work, she actually shares that really belonging is being a part of something greater than ourselves. Isn't that what we all want? Belonging, being a part of something that's greater than ourselves. But at the same time, having the courage to stand up to you and belonging to you. What I didn't realize is there was times I was involved in a lot of stuff and belonged to a lot of groups and organizations, but I still felt alone. Have you ever felt that? Yeah. So it's like, what is that? What's missing? And, sometimes in order to stand up for ourselves or the courage just to be us, it makes others feel uncomfortable that we're willing to stand out. We're willing to be okay. So therefore, that may be hard for us because we just don't want to make others feel uncomfortable. Does that make sense? At times, I don't want others to feel uncomfortable, but then I'm not being true to me. So first and foremost, you can fit in anywhere, everywhere, anywhere, you name it, but you have to belong to you and have the courage to stay true to you. I think in the world of where we are today, this is probably such a hard time because we have COVID-19, we have elections coming up, that's all a mess. We have Black Lives Matter. We have a huge issue going on with vaccines, especially in light of COVID-19. And will everybody be required to have it? There's just so much. And then others of us have either had to change jobs, lost our jobs, new place working from home. And so in this world, you might feel like you don't belong or I don't belong anywhere and all this stuff going on. But you do belong to you. So what I would say is, if you haven't even thought about this before, ask yourself, what do I believe in? Who's me? What makes up Kelly? What makes up you? What makes you tick? If you know you and you can always stand and belong to you, then it really doesn't matter. Because what we thought was fitting in was belonging, but fitting in means it's like, okay, this is the popular crowd. They do their hair like this. They wear these clothes. They have their makeup like this. They talk like this. So then I better change. So I belong to the group. But then I'm changing myself to fit in, and therefore I now no longer belong to myself. And I don't have the courage to be me. Isn't this all interesting and fascinating? If I can kind of rewind the clock, reverse time, rewind the clock, whatever you want to say. When I was in high school, for me, you would think high school is very challenging times, right? People in their teens, they want to conform, they just want to fit in. Well, this is interesting. I was in the band, so I was in the band group. I was in student government. I was in the student government group. I was a scholar, so I was in the academic group. I was an athlete and a top athlete, so I was in the athlete group. So I could like fit everywhere. And you know why? Because during that time of my life, I belonged to me. I knew who I was, and I belonged to me. And in college, the same thing happened. I went to a huge university, University of Arizona. I rushed, not to be with my friends. I did want a group to belong, but here's an interesting thing. As I went through sorority rush, I had houses that I knew people. My brother had friends of, older people that he knew. And I could have easily gone down that road. I could have gone what my mom was, right? Because I was a legacy. And none of it just felt right with me. But people were shocked because I chose a house that I didn't know anybody. But you know why? Because I still was true to me. I was courageous. I belonged to me, and I knew it. I knew it. So it didn't bother me. It actually did make others uncomfortable that I was making choices of not fitting in with this group or this group, but I was good with it. Now, this is what has gotten me really thinking about this path is, how was I so secure with my belonging then, but maybe not now? Because I still have times I feel alone. Like I don't fit in, I don't belong. And I think as adults, I've been challenged. Like I'm a physical therapist. And when I started moving up, I started running hospitals, and I was one of the youngest people to be running the hospital. And I managed people much older than me. And so at times I wanted them to like me, or I wanted to fit in. And so maybe I made decisions early in my career that weren't the best business decisions because I wanted that sense of belonging. I'm sure we've all maybe said, maybe I wouldn't have made that choice, right? I don't know. I've learned along the way, but I do have to say, I have found myself time and time again in certain groups and certain situations of certain people that I wanted to fit in. So I started to change myself to fit in. When I did that, I knew, you know what? I didn't need to belong to that group because I wasn't being true to myself. And I don't like that feeling. I don't like that Kelly. I like me, all of who I know. But I would imagine you guys are similar to me. You've had job changes. Maybe you've moved locations and not known people. I've gone through divorce. That was really hard. I didn't feel like I belonged at all during that time of my life. You've had kids, and now you're in a group of all of your friends that don't have kids yet. Or maybe you don't have kids, but everybody else has kids. There's just so many circumstances where you're wondering, do I belong? Do I fit in? So it is difficult, but I will ask you that, really to belong and finding something that you can be a part of something bigger than yourselves is amazing. I've found that in my life. And as I've now, as an older adult, right? How many of you guys can say that? I'm 48. So I've had some trials and tribulations. And so now I'm in the older adult phases. I don't know, whatever you call it, whatever it is. But now I find that since I know me, I'm able to be parts of groups. I'm making huge impacts in the world, things much greater than me. But I'm able to do it not because I'm conforming with that group or fitting into that group and changing myself, but because I'm not changing myself. I can be authentically Kelly. So are you involved in groups that you belong, that you're authentically you? Are you being courageous? Are you sticking true to yourself? I don't know. And no one else knows. Only you can answer that. So, this is hard. Again, we're all looking for this roadmap, I believe, and I just don't think one's out there. So this is what I'm going to encourage you to do. Build your own roadmap. And as scary as that may be, this is just an important part of life because the world needs our voices right now more than ever. They do not need one more person that's just going to fit in and conform and follow what everyone's telling us to do. No, someone out there is waiting to hear what you have to say. Somebody is waiting to be courageous with you, for you, and be together to build something even bigger. I know right now, I am so passionate and courageous about standing up alone, being authentically Kelly, that I'm leading a movement that other people want to be a part of. And it's exciting when you know with every single cell of your being, you're being authentically yourself. Now, there are still times, there's still moments, moments in time that we're like, oh my gosh, did I just betray myself for somebody else? And it happens. Life is busy, life is hard. There's decisions that we're making every day, all day. And at the end of the day, all you can say is, did I show up as me? Right? Did I fulfill my life as me? Sometimes right now, my kids are kind of, I don't know, thinking I'm crazy because I'm doing so many different things. But as they're getting to become more young adults in their life, they're seeing, oh, maybe mom's kind of courageous. Maybe that's kind of cool. She's stepping out. She doesn't have to fit in like all the other moms. I don't know. I really don't know sometimes what they're all thinking. I just know that when I rest and I put my head on the pillow at the end of the night, that I can feel really, really good. At times, the cost is high. I don't know. I feel like the cost is really high. Like, is it worth it? All I can say is yes. The reward is so great on what you're going to leave behind. Okay. So yes, the cost can be so great. Feel like it's an uphill battle that always showing up as you, but the rewards will truly, truly be great. So you guys, we can't afford to compromise ourselves. You don't want to teach your children, your community, the people around you, that they can compromise themselves. Don't feel like you can just fit in. Stand up, know yourself, compromise being you and only you, and authentically you. So I hope in this today, you might find a little bit of your greatness. I hope today you can move the needle in your life one step further of being courageous and asking yourself, am I belonging to me? All the values that I have, the groups that I'm in, am I holding up my values, or do I feel like I'm conforming to them? So the greatest gift you can give yourself is be loving to yourself, be brave to yourself, be courageous. Because sometimes we don't feel like we're belonging and true to ourselves because we're not being brave enough. We're not stepping out into that fear enough. And I know that every time I do, I think it's too much. I think it's scary. I think it's going to be a challenge. Something even bigger and better and greater comes of it. So I'm going to send you guys off today saying, be courageous, belong to you, know who you are, love yourself. It's not always easy, but it is so worth it. With that, I wanted to thank you so much for subscribing to our podcast. I want you to please leave us a 5-star rating. Let us know, share this with others, share this with somebody else you care about, because somebody out there always might be waiting, right, to get into their greatness and wanting to make sure that they learn how to belong to themselves. With that, you guys, I'm sending you off. Thank you so much. Become the CEO of your own health. Champion yourself out there and go absolutely crush your life. Bye.